There are some things that are so nice, you gotta say it twice. Ice, ice, baby. How y'all doing? Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm gonna be taking you guys through every 7 of the main schools in Wizard 101, and we're gonna be ranking them and how good they are. Now, hear me out. Every single time I make an opinion video, those videos always get ratioed by some guy named Jeffrey in the comments that thinks that he knows what he's talking about. Well, let me tell you something. You see this face? Square up, I'm about to give you a knuckle sandwich. Oh, dude, that was intimidating, man. Okay, jokes aside, I've not made a Wizard 101 video in about 10 freaking years. So if you enjoy this kind of video, show me there are still Wizard 101 fans out there. Hit that like button and subscribe down below, and let's get into it. Starting off with the very worst school, and almost always, Ice. The Ice School has pretty much just lost its identity. What happens when a school is stripped away from everything that it's known for? Well, it falls into irrelevancy, and that's what you see with the Ice School. The Ice School was always known as being a tank and having a lot of hit points. Well, now, in all of the in-game schools, everybody has over 10,000 health. My Death Wizard has over 10,000 health. My Fire Wizard, who I've not even leveled up through Wallaroo or Darkmoor, has 9,800. You're pretty much gonna live every single fight that you're in, unless it's an incredibly hard boss. So yeah, Ice can get upward to the 20,000 health range nowadays. But what school can't? Very few. Ice was always known for being a resist-heavy school. I mean, you gotta tank those hits. But since the shadow spells were all changed, and like Shadow Sentinel is not even close to how it used to be, there's no really real place for an Ice Wizard to be, especially considering all of the max level gear, including the fanciful Fairy K Horde bag, gives everybody a shit ton of resist, and not to mention a lot of health. All that being said, Ice's spells were already super weak, and it lacks the extra help that Life and Balance gets, where they can heal, where they can add some support. Ice can give tower shields, but every school can train a tower shield, making Ice the worst school in Wizard 101. Wow, my face is red. I don't know how I used to make these videos. Howdy, y'all. It's Does Bad Things Dan. I like doing bad things. This is me in editing, literally about 30 minutes after I filmed this. Just want to let you know, my first wizard was an Ice Wizard, so if you want to say something, you're getting that aforementioned knuckle sandwich. Alright, the joke's over, I'm sorry. Next up, we got the Moon School. I'm just kidding, we ain't gonna talk about the Moon School, that's a whole different video. Next up, we have to talk about the school that I think you saw coming pretty soon. If I'm like totally honest with you guys, it gets a lot harder after the Ice School. I feel like almost everybody will agree that Ice is far and away the worst, but all of these schools that you're about to see are pretty much fine. And I know I didn't really give any parameters on like what makes a school bad in this video. That's why they call me a scuff streamer. Let's get back into it. As much as I hate to say it, I have to say number 6 is Balance. The Sand School, the School of Sand, is unfortunately not very good. I want to make something clear. This is not PvP related. I'm only talking about PvE because I don't play PvP. Screw that. Now look, it's an incredible support school. Just like I was saying for Ice. It has all of the universal blades, traps, has a lot of good things going for it. Soloing as a Balance is almost impossible. And that is because Balance's hits don't do a lot of damage, but even worse, there's not a prism for a long time in the game. Now, I would argue that this school goes through a huge revamp later on, and it gets incredibly good, especially with like the spell weaving and everything that it can get into. But talking about how rough it can be for new players who don't know all these new mechanics, hell, I don't know all these mechanics. I'm a 2013 wizhead. I don't know junk about no spell weaving and anything past it. When these people talking about like dual skulls, and all I ever knew was a mastery amulet. So just talking about like the first levels, like 1 through 100 for a Balance, it's a tough one. But once you get after that, it starts to level out some. I will say generally Balance is given the short end of the stick when it comes to be giving spells. The spells are just not that powerful. You get some like Nested Fury, which can be situationally helpful, but with the new Shadow rework, things start to go downhill. You had Gaze of Fate, which was bad for the longest time and still is not incredible, but you also have things like Power Nova, which are great. But then you have Raw, which sucks. All in all, Balance is a solid 6.5 out of 10. It can be very helpful and you love to see it on your team up, but as a solo, you're gonna struggle. Now, number 5, I'm gonna get flamed for, and I fully see it coming. I'm sure this is gonna be the nicest welcome from the Wizard 101 community I've ever seen in my life. I have to say the Fire School is number 5. Now again, I know, this is my opinion and this is probably crazy. Look, no one's denying that fire hits extremely hard. But you know who hits a little bit harder? Storm. No one's denying that its DOT whole shtick is incredibly helpful. But you know who also has DOTs? Other schools. Modern PvE factors generally favor those really hard-hitting spells, and Fire doesn't really have that many of them. Fire has some, but they're a little bit harder to come by than a Storm, than a Death, than other schools. It's been a common theme with the bottom 3. None of these schools really have like a solid hit They have some that are good, like Fire Dragon's great. I mean, it's going to help you quest and get rid of all the minions. But when it comes to needing that really strong just hit, what you gonna do? Now, fire is obviously situationally really good. With all these schools, there are amazing cases, and obviously if you have a fire on your team, you're gonna be just fine. Fire is still a good school. The Storm Titan's a great example. You almost need a fire for that one. It's just not the uncontested powerhouse it used to be. When the spell audit was happening, before all the craziness and all these later worlds came into play, Fire was the #1 school. It hasn't really gotten that strong powerhouse that it used to be. Next up, we have the Life School. So Life used to be my #7 for the worst school to play in Wizard101, and it's jumped all the way up to #4. You have these brand new AoEs that are really good, like Retorsker Spin. I mean, it's not really new anymore. It's new to me as an OG player. You have Magic Weaving, which gives Life a ton of offensive capabilities that it didn't previously have. The best part about Life is that it heals. If you have a life on your team with enough incoming and outgoing and all those great stats for healing, you're gonna be just fine. And it's like, I know when I was growing up, I loved having a life on my team for Darkmoor, but I hated having a life on my team for like the Jabberwock or other things like that. But nowadays, where life is extremely powerful, it's just really good. If you solo as a life wizard, you'll almost just generally be just fine. And this is a good time to say, since we're a little bit past the halfway point. This is my first Wizard101 video on the platform in a long time, on this channel specifically. If you want me to make a Wizard101 hardcore challenge video, I've been thinking about doing it. I've been getting back into the mindset. Leave a like, let me know in the comments what school you want me to do, and that will be the next video, depending on when I can get it finished. #3, we have the Storm School. All right, so the Storm School is obviously extremely strong. And again, these top 3 are like, mwah, mwah, mwah. Excellent choices. It has really high base damage. You see that evident in literally the very start of the game. Lightning Bat surpasses Snow Serpent by absolute miles. It has lower accuracy, but you get to a point at about like level 60 where that really doesn't matter. And the only drawback is that it has slightly lower health. But again, like I said at the very beginning with Ice, we've gotten to a point where every single school has a shit ton of health, and Storm is no exception. So now you have this extremely strong hitting school. That's pretty much all I have to say about Storm. I wish I had more to say. I really do. But Storm is just a solid school. There's not really a bad part about it. There just happens to be 2 more that I think are better. So these last 2 for me are totally interchangeable. You have one being Death that solos really well. You have one with Myth that also solos really well, has slightly more damage but does not heal back. So if I had to honestly give the edge, I'm gonna say the #2 school is the Death School. I know, sorry Wolf Deathblade, you're gonna get pissed at me for this one. Look, the spells are mid, let's just be honest. Scarecrow is alright, Fear Knight sucks now, Ship of Fools is mid. There's not really anything solid after Kurulu got nerfed as hard as it did. It's a great solo school, don't get me wrong. I soloed because I didn't have a lot of friends. Look at the name of this channel. I soloed almost all the game with my Death back in the day. And honestly, you can do the exact same nowadays. Probably a little bit better because there are so many more options for the Death School. There are so many utility spells, it becomes really helpful. The reason why I place it slightly below is because it's so overdone. There are so many Death Wizards, and I'm just putting my personal bias on that. Like, look, I'm not the biggest Myth fan in the world. Shocker, that's #1. We'll get to that in a second. But it's like, oh my lord, I was a main Death Wizard, and I can barely look at him. Looks aside, though, I think there are a couple of redeeming factors for the Myth School that do make it the best. But the Death School is obviously incredibly good. If you're starting a Wizard101 playthrough and you've never played the game before, I recommend you choose Death. And now we have the Myth School, obviously interchangeable. Look, Myth is not my favorite school by any stretch of the imagination, but with this very limited research I did for this video, it's by far the most balanced. Pretty good health, great damage. Orthos is insane, the spell's great. There's great utility with Shatter and Pierce, and the minions are helpful, at least for now. In the very start of the game, it's very helpful in group as well. It does a good job of staying alive while also putting out damage. Honestly, if you're gonna solo, pick Death. If you're gonna play with friends, pick Myth. Honestly, it's up to you. I love you guys so much. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great rest of the day, guys. Next time, goodbye.